Welcome back to the Makers Gonna Learn YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, and welcome.
How are you? My name is Lauren.
I'm Alicia, and we're gonna be showing you guys how to use a laser today.
Honestly, a little nervy. I mean, I'm not. We know how to use a laser, but this is the first time we've ever used a laser on a live stream before. So it is a little bit new for us today. I don't know how many of you all out there that are watching, I don't know how many of you all have an xTool laser. If you don't, now is a great opportunity for you to see it in action.
Yes.
See everything, not everything, but see some things that can be done with it. Because honestly, if you are looking and if it is in your budget to add a new craft machine into your craft arsenal, y'all, I really, really, really do like the xTool laser.
Yeah, it's just a good price point. It's a good size. It does most of the things that an everyday crafter would want to do.
Yes.
Without having to invest in like a really heavy duty like industrial laser, because there's a huge range of small hobby lasers all the way up to industrial size lasers, and then a lot of times people put those in their homes and they run businesses, so you can really take this and run with it. So I think this is just a good like introductory to the laser world. Yes,
and I believe, in my opinion, like Alicia said, the price point of the xTool laser is a great price point.
Yeah.
But I think that this combines, like, it is hobbyist crafter who's wanting to maybe step into the selling world. This is a great place to start, in my opinion. I probably would go after working with the xTool and the Glowforge. Now, mind you, these are two totally different lasers, and we'll talk about these here in a minute. There is a diode laser and a CO2 laser, so you kind of can't compare, in my opinion. It's kind of like comparing apples to oranges almost. The biggest difference is a CO2 laser, you're gonna have more capabilities to cut acrylic with.
More power.
It's more power. The diode laser, you're not gonna be able to really, you can cut some acrylic, but you cannot cut all acrylic with a diode laser. So just a little brief overview of that. But I think if it came down to it and you were like, would you choose Glowforge over xTool? I think that xTool right now in my book is just winning a little bit.
Yeah, well, and
for what we are doing, like if you are just like a crafter.
Right, and the Glowforge is so just like out of price range for the general population. Like it's just so expensive. This one that we're working with today is around $1,000. And we linked it below. If you want to look at it, you can go and look at it there. There's more information on the webpage. But obviously, we're going to talk about all the different features and stuff that it has today. And this isn't going to be the only project we do. So we're going to be cutting some acrylic on our next live with the laser. We've been kind of playing around with acrylic, and we'll talk about all the things with that. But today we're going to be focusing on wood, because I feel like that's the first thing that people want to cut when they get a laser.
If you get a laser, with a Cricut, obviously we can't cut wood. We can cut very thin, like wood veneer, but like layer it together. But you can't really cut wood. So a lot of times people are like, oh, but I wanted to cut wood. This is the machine that you're gonna want to get if you are wanting to cut, engrave wood, things like that. So with all of that being said, let's just go ahead and hop over here and let's take a look.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so on the table here, we have the xTool M1 Ultra. Now, it does have a riser bed. So the machine in and of itself, let me close this lid. The machine in and of itself is just this guy right here, okay? You can see that it did come off the riser bed. If you are wanting to engrave larger, like thicker materials that just don't lie flat, let's say cups, things like that, you will need to get a riser bed as well. So this is like I said, the xTool M1 Ultra with the riser bed. Here in a minute, I'm gonna bring it over here so you can see inside. We'll talk about the different beds or the different ways you can arrange things in this machine. You can have it as a flat surface. You can make it deeper with the honeycomb in the riser bed. But the one thing that I adore about the M1 Ultra is the fact that you can switch out these heads, as we like to call them. And Sadie, let's go to camera 3. Can they see this? Okay, so this, I'm gonna come over here to this side so that I can show you. You can actually change these out. So right now we have the 20-watt laser aperture in here, but by flipping this out, we can raise this up and we can change this from the 20 watt to a 10 watt, which in my opinion, I don't know why you would want to go down in wattage, but if you for some reason start with a 10 watt laser module or the laser head, you can buy the 20 watt laser head separate and you can switch those out. Not only do we have that, you have an inkjet printer that you can pop in here. What you would do, it has an attachment here. You pop it in right there, plug it in over here, put that down, and now you can actually print full color images on wood and other materials, and then you can cut it. Now, this machine in and of itself does have this carriage that has a fine point blade, an engraving blade, and all of these things that you can foil. I think there's a foil tip for it, but you can change all of this out. So it is, yes, this is a laser, but this specific laser does so much more than just cut and engrave. Like I said, this is kind of like an all-in-one machine where you can cut, you can print, you can use a laser head, literally so much more. Now, if there is one thing that I would say about this specific module, the inkjet printer, we had a little bit of trouble with the first one that we got, so we ordered a new one and it worked fine. It worked great. The only thing that we have noticed is it seems, because it is just a small, it doesn't hold a lot of ink, we have noticed that this ink tends to run out. And I don't know that you can refill this ink. I think you can only purchase the cartridge from xTools.
Like the whole thing?
Yes. So like the whole thing, this part, if I can get it out. Give me just a second. So this is the, whoop, I'll show it to you so you guys can see. It is this type of ink cartridge. So it's a tricolor ink cartridge. If you can find these aftermarket, you might be able to. As far as refilling them, I've not attempted, I've not tried, but that is what it takes, and you would just refill that, change it out, and then go from there. So.
And also, now that we're at this camera angle, can you show them the top separated from the bottom just so they can have a better visual? You like kind of lifted it, but if like that top part is the laser, the bottom part is the riser.
Okay.
So you guys can actually see on that camera. Yeah, there you go.
This part is the laser, the bottom part is the riser bed.
And that's so that the air can circulate better, correct?
So yes and no. The riser bed is so that you can do thicker materials. Let's actually,
oh yeah.
Let me go ahead and bring it over here and I'll just show you guys. And it's gonna be hard for me to do this from the back. This machine is pretty large. This is what we call the triangular, these are the triangular prisms. We're gonna talk about this little melted guy here in a minute. This is the flat surface bed that does come in and out. You can see here, that's the honeycomb bed so this is made for thin materials, and if you are cutting with the laser, you put the prisms in there, that way you can cut. Otherwise, if you just lay your materials flat on this bed and you try to use your laser, do you see these spots there? That's what's gonna happen. You do not want that happening. Now, Donna says refilling is not easy, but just buying the HP62 works fine. Okay, write that down. The HP62 is the cartridge that we need to put for the ink. This is the honeycomb bed. These are just little magnets that fit down in there to help keep your material on there. This, once again, is for those that are wanting to do thicker material. Like if you have a, let's say a thicker piece of wood that will not fit with this in there, you can just take that out and then you will use the honeycomb bed. Also, I'm gonna have to come around the front because I cannot get to it from there. The front, can they see that? Where are we at, Sadie? We're still overhead? Yeah. Okay, the front part, they can't see the front, can they? Let me see if I can scoot it back a little bit.
We might have to get some new camera angles.
Y'all, I'm trying. Can they see this now? Still not. Okay, can we go to 1? Can they see it at 1? Yeah, no?
I mean, they can see the flap, they can't see what's inside.
Okay, so let's just go to 1 to show them this flap right here. Okay, so here, the riser bed does open from the front like this. You all see that? Now go back overhead. And then once you open that flap, you can take the honeycomb base out. You can move it up, you can move it down, you can move it whichever way, but I do like the riser bed for that alone, honestly. That way you can adjust the height and even put like your rotary, if you want to do cups, you can put like your rotary tool inside here so that it moves your cup back and forth. Now, once again, I'm trying to show you guys all of the cool features.
And I'll say we are going to put out a more detailed, we're going to have a video about over like which bundle you should get and like a little bit more detail on the actual laser itself.
Yes.
So you have more information because obviously the camera angles are not camera angling.
They're not,
today.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what else. Somebody asked, does it cut paper? Yes, this thing does cut paper, cuts paper well, actually. What you do is you put this base back in here. And if you want to, there is a mat just right inside this door. Mm-hmm. And I have put this in backwards. I should have put it in the other way. Give me just a second. It goes like this. Flip this guy in here.
Kathy was asking if you can use Cricut tools.
No.
On this.
No. You do have to use xTool's tools. If you are wanting to cut paper, let me bring it back over here. What they have is they have a double-sided mat. So it's sticky on both sides. And what you do to cut paper is you place this guy, you place your paper on whatever side, and then you place this guy in here with these corners, if I can get it right. Y'all, I'm having a really hard time with the angles on this thing so that you all can see it and everything else. Because normally I work from the front of the laser and I'm having to work from behind it. Anyway, you get the gist. It sticks out on there. Your paper sticks to this. You change out your modules here. You put in the regular cartridge or your regular carriage, this one, and then you place your blade in here and close and lock it. Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
So it's like is it like print and cut? Like you would print something and then it would cut it out?
You can print and cut, yes.
Okay.
But you would have to switch out your carriages.
Okay.
But in my opinion, I don't think print and cutting on paper with this machine is what it's made for. I think that it's more so made for printing on materials that you can't typically print with a regular printer. For example, printing on basswood and then cutting it out with your laser.
Yeah.
That's what this machine really stands out with, okay? Yes, I need a stool, I need something, but let me go ahead and get this put back on here. We do have it hooked up to we have an air purifier here, but we also have a ventilation system hooked up with this thing. We do recommend if you have a laser or decide to get a laser, If you can vent your laser to the outside, that is perfectly fine. You do not have to have one of these. That's actually how we had our Glowforge set up, is we had an exhaust hose on it, and we had it exhausted to the outside of our old office. But with this machine, with it being smaller, we do have the, what is that called?
Exhaust.
Air purifier,
Yeah,
air filter.
air exhaust.
It just hooks to the back here. I'll show you. This guy right here, it literally snaps onto the back, and then you turn that on. Super, super easy. Okay. CO2 lasers already have the CO2 in them. It's a tube.
And it's not as easily to remove as that is.
You do not remove it, and
Yeah.
if the CO2 laser goes out, you have to be like
You gotta, like, they'll send out people to come fix it sometimes.
yeah.
Like,
it's not something you can fix on your own. Okay. Air assist, yes, it goes out the back. Okay. Lisa asked, does it come with all those tools or must they be purchased separately? It depends on what bundle you decide to purchase. You can just purchase the machine alone. You can purchase a larger bundle that has the air assist, that has the filtration system with it, that has the riser bed. You can get it, but for the most part, obviously your entry level is just going to be the laser, either a 20 or 10 watt carriage, and that's about it. That's gonna be probably where you're gonna start at your $1,000, and then it's gonna go up in package from there, okay? Now, are you ready to start designing?
let's make a project.
Now that we've kind of talked about it, let's move it back over.
Listen, there's so much you can learn about these machines that you can learn, like, the basic ways to use them, which is how we're going to be using it today. But we're going to be putting out more videos on lasers as we go. So, like I said, we're going to be having a video about which bundle to buy. We're going to do a video on a live stream next month on how to cut acrylic with it. So, we're going to have stuff. But if you guys have anything in particular you want to know, make sure to leave a comment and let us know so that we know what you guys want to see.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
So today we'll just go overhead. We are going to be making this guy right here, but look how cute some of these cake toppers are.
Adorbs.
Yeah.
The one is like the cutest.
Yeah. They're all super, super cute, but I'm going to be teaching you all how to pull in a Maker's Gonna Learn SVG file and how to kind of work with it and manipulate it. One thing that I do want to say is, first of all, xTool's software has come such a long way since the very first xTool's video I put out, which was how long ago at this point? Like 2 years ago. It wasn't last year.
It was Father's Day the year before last.
Father's Day year before last was the very first time we ever really put out an xTool's video, which was just the M1, the xTool's M1. Still a very good machine. I will say I do like the Ultra a lot better, personal opinion. It's bigger, it has more working area. I do like the M1 Ultra. So I think you're gonna be surprised at how easy the Creative Space, xTool's Creative Space is, and how almost similar it is to Design Space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very user-friendly too, which is nice.
Yes. Yes, Carol, I was just talking about the xTool's Creative Space. You do have to, it's a specific software that goes through, it's an xTool software, but like I said, it's free. It's not something you have to buy separately, but it's a very nice software to work with. So let's go ahead. Now we do have it downloaded, there is an app that you will download if you get it. It's called XCS, xTool's Creative Space. So let's go ahead and hop over there to our share screen. This is what the home page of the xTool's Creative Space looks like. Very much gives you like your mat, looks similar to Cricut Design Space. There are still a lot of things that are different, things that are located in other places. But one thing I love about this that you can't do in Design Space is you can have multiple tabs with multiple different projects open, just like you would with an internet browser, which personally,
so like you can do, yeah, you can be working on multiple things at a time.
Yes, you can be working on multiple projects at the same time in the different tabs. So I'm just gonna close out of that one. We do have one pulled up here, but I'm just gonna go, you can see here, this is what this looks like. I'm gonna go over here to this tab. And from here, when you first start, before you start designing, there are a couple things that I'm going to talk to you about. Do you all see that red little cross right up here in the top corner?
Yes.
That, you can turn that on and off. That is the positioning of your laser. Are we on share screen? So when I manually move my laser up and down, I can see where the crosshairs on the XCS Creative Space is, which I do really love.
That, yeah, because so a lot of them will have cameras. Yes. Like the Glowforge has a camera, and sometimes they're blurry.
Yep.
Or they won't focus correctly, and I think that that's really helpful.
Yeah. So that is just going to help you when it comes to framing your area of where you want your apparatus to cut, where you want the laser to cut. That is going to come in very, very handy, being able to manually move this and position that. Okay? So once you get in here, the first thing that I like to do, number one, is choose, which here it has our, if you don't have your machine connected, here is where you're going to connect your machine on the right-hand side. From there, before I really start working, so I don't forget, I come up here to where it says unknown material, and I just go ahead and select the material that I plan on working with, okay? So you can see here, these are all just general popular materials that you can work with through xTools. Now, much like the Cricut, you do not have to buy xTools specific material, but if you want the best results, sometimes it is easier, especially if it comes to like acrylic, to get acrylic that is rated for your machine. But y'all, 3mm basswood can be found just about anywhere.
Yeah.
At any hardware store, you can find sheets, or craft store, even at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, you can find 3mm basswood for pretty cheap. Amazon, you do not have to have the xTools brand. Okay.
Home Depot even, and Ashley Falco told me this when she was teaching on some laser stuff. She buys it in bulk at Home Depot, and they just ship it to the store and you go pick it up.
Yep.
Which is really nice.
Yep. And they will cut it down for you for free.
Yeah. I think you can even order it in those sizes already.
I think you can order it in these sizes, but if you want to buy in bulk and buy larger sheets, if it's cheaper, Home Depot will cut stuff down to size for you, which is super nice. It's not anything extra. So we are working with 3mm basswood today, so we're going to go ahead and select 3mm basswood and confirm, and we'll just go ahead and place this guy in here. Once again, this is on the riser bed on the prisms because we are going to be cutting. You need to have the prisms if you're planning on cutting with the laser and not just straight onto that steel plate, because it will mess up your steel plate. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and hop over to Maker's Gonna Learn. And today, let's make this a little bit bigger. We are going to be using this birthday boy file. It is linked down below if you want to check that out. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to download this file, which we already have downloaded. I'm going to hop back over to Creative Space. And what I love about this software is if I go over to my Finder, you can see here I have the birthday boy file already unzipped. We are using the SVG today. PNGs are going to be, you use PNG files with Creative Space. It is going to be for very specific projects like printing. Sometimes you can use them to engrave with, but it's just easier with a laser to use scalable vector graphics. Trust me on this one. It's going to be the best.
So what you're saying is if you're a Maker's Gonna Learn member and you want to get a laser, you don't have to go looking for laser files.
No.
We've already got you covered.
We already have you covered. SVGs work great. You do not have to have anything special, any kind of special files with this. Just scalable vector graphics. That's it. So what we're going to do, all you have to do is drag and drop, and boom. How easy was that?
Easy peasy.
I mean, it makes me want to vomit how easy it was.
How do you add the stick onto it?
We're getting there, girl.
Oh, I thought we were ready to go. I was like, let's do it. Turn that baby on.
We're going to be adding an offset. I'm going to teach you guys how to contour stuff out of this offset, how to simplify your design, duplicate, cut, score, engrave. We're doing it all today. We are doing it all.
I still love that little brown grid over there. Is that telling me like how intense the burn would be?
Yeah, girl, that is telling you how intense that burn's gonna be.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So what we are gonna do first is I'm going to scale this down to size. Now you can look at this is the only other thing, it's been a minute since I've done this. So we're gonna size this. One thing that I want to do first this is just gonna be a personal preference. Sometimes I like to go ahead and frame the area that I am going to be working in. So give me a minute. Laser, it's right here. Okay, so mark processing area. If you want to mark the area, go to camera 3. Although they can't see that. Okay, and that's just, okay, let's just go ahead. Hold on. Hold up 1 minute. We're gonna pull this bad boy on over here. You're just gonna have to give me a minute. It's gonna take some time. Okay. If you are wanting to mark the area that you want to cut in here, okay, let's go back to the share screen. Up here in the top right, there is it looks like a little golf flag to me. Like it looks like a putting green. I don't know. That's what it reminds me of. That's what you need to select to mark the process area. So it's going to show you if you want to mark a polygon, a circle, a line. Most of the time, I'm just going to mark a rectangle. So I'm going to select rectangle and I'm going to start the marking process. So what I do is I bring my laser, let's say here, and then at the front of this, there are 2 buttons. And I know that they can't see it, but you're going to hit the one on, if you're looking at it, it's the one on the left. Me behind it, I'm the one on the right, but go to the share screen, and do you see where that red dot is? That is marking the frame, that is the first corner of the framing area, and then so you want to mark the top left and then the bottom right. So we've marked the top left. Now what I need to do, go back overhead, is we're going to mark the bottom right, and you do not want your crosshairs to come close to this plastic. Remember I said we were going to talk about that melted plastic. If you are cutting and you mark your area over here, which is around that plastic, it's going to burn through. Trust me. So you kind of want to mark over there.
Like give yourself some space.
Yep, give yourself some space, and then back to the share screen. And now we can see that is the area that we are working in, and we can kind of use that to gauge how large we want our project to be. So we're ending our marking, we're done, and it's gonna put it right here on our canvas. Super simple. Look at there.
Okay.
Okay. So to create this cake topper, people were asking, can you change the millimeters to inches? I think you're just I
think you can.
You can. I can't remember how to do it right now.
I'll tell y'all, if you start getting involved in the laser world, everything's in millimeters. Like,
it is.
They
it
measure
really
the wood
is.
in millimeters, and you get yourself one of those little tools. What are they called, Lauren? I can't ever remember. The little pincher tools. Calipers. Yes.
Calipers.
Get you some of those.
Yep.
Everything's in millimeters, and those measure in millimeters. So, what?
Somebody asked, can you point on the overhead where the laser head actually is? Here. I'm
What's
not really
the other? So it's
Okay.
A little cartridge.
Okay. So what we're going to do, let's just go ahead and start actually designing our file. I know that you all have a lot of questions. I understand that we will get to those, but we need to get this file done and start like engraving and cutting, and then we can answer your questions. Now, another thing that I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys, I'm probably not going to know every single question answer to the questions that you ask right now. It has been a minute since I have worked with this. We have a lot of other things going on. So it takes me just a few minutes to get reacclimated. I know where everything is, but just like if you've not been in Design Space for 6 months, it's going to take you a minute to get reacclimated, okay? So we'll go back over here to our share screen. So this is just a file right now. We're going to have to manipulate it to turn it into our cake topper. First thing I'm going to do over here on the bottom left is going to be your layers panel. So you can turn your layers panel on and off. You can see that it comes in, it shows you the layers with the colors. All of this is grouped together right now. If we are wanting to create an offset, which in this case we are, before we ungroup it, because we do need to ungroup it for a couple different reasons, but before we ungroup it, we need to create an offset. So while this is selected, I'm coming up here to the top where it says offset, and I'm going to select offset. Now for this one, I want it up to a 3, and we are going to confirm, and let's go ahead and get rid of that offset, and let's do it again because I forgot to hit this one little thing. I want the outer shape only, number 1, and we're gonna move this up to 3. It's still giving me all these little inner shapes, which is fine. I'm gonna teach you how to simplify that, okay? Once you have selected your offset, which you can toggle this up and down if you want to, you can see when we toggle it up to a 12, it's generating the outline and it's going to be way too big, you can see. So we're just going to come back down here to a 3, and we're going to click confirm. Now you can see over here we still have our grouped image, which turns blue when I hover, and then we have our offset, which also turns blue when I hover. But I don't want all of those pieces on the inside. So with the offset selected, and we can tell that it's selected because it's grayed out, we need to come up here to the top, and we are going to select edit. Okay, are we all on the same page? We're going to select edit, and now we can simplify this offset, and you can see that you can change your threshold. Like I want to move my threshold up. That's more of what I'm wanting, is a threshold. Actually, I might even move it up to a 4.
Bump it up, girl.
Bump it up, girl. So you can see that we now have a simplified version of our offset. We can now confirm. We are still editing our offset, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these little dots inside that I no longer want and hit delete. I don't want that guy. Don't need him. Don't need him. I'm just dragging and dropping. Don't need him inside. Don't need that. Don't need that. And I don't need that point either. So now I have a way more simplified version, and this is a way that you can quote unquote contour, which is what you all are used to, but we are just deleting out points inside this offset. We simplified it and we're taking out those inside points to simplify it, so we're just cutting around the outside, okay? Now, it can, yes, Donna, it can change your design shape. However, with this one, it is fine. If we wanted to come back to here, we can make the threshold shorter, which is going to give you more points. You can also move these points around. So you see how I can move this one down and over? You can move that if you want to. I wouldn't really suggest doing that until you get more versed with your machine. So after that, we are done. We have actually, I really don't like that offset. I'm gonna do it one more time because it did simplify it a little bit more than what I wanted. So we're just gonna come back here. The offset I wanted was 3. We're gonna confirm. We're gonna edit. We're gonna simplify. We'll just go ahead and leave it there at auto. We're gonna confirm, but I want to delete these inside points like I did a while ago. So I'm just coming in here, selecting them and deleting them.
This offset just hugs the letters a little
Yes.
bit more cleanly.
Yes, so that's what I was going for, is the offset hugging the letters a little bit more. So I'm just...
It's nice that you can click and drag to select those without it selecting the actual image.
Yes.
Kind of puts it on a different layer.
Yeah. So now this hugs the letters a little bit more like I was wanting. We can select done. Boom. There we go. We have our offset. So now we have our vector offset, which we want to make sure over here, we're going to set it to cut. Okay. But we'll get back to that here in a minute. There are some other things that I want to do before we really finalize everything. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to come over here with the file that we brought in, and I want to ungroup this file. Now, there is a reason that I'm wanting to ungroup this file, and you're going to understand here in just a second. And then we're going to group everything back together here in a little bit. So the first thing that I want to do, and the reason that I ungrouped it, is because I want to leave Birthday Boy where it's at, but I want to have a second section that cuts out Birthday Boy. So I'm going to, over here, I'm going to select the top one and then come down here with my shift key held, and I'm going to select the bottom, and you can see it selects all of those. I'm going to hit Command C and then Command V. So I'm copying and pasting, and you can see here I have duplicated this file. And actually, before I do that, I do think I want to make this just a tad bit smaller. You can hit the undo button. Make sure you're dragging and selecting everything. We're gonna make this just a smidgen smaller and like move it over here in our working area. That way I can put that Birthday Boy over here. So once again, I am selecting all of the Birthday Boy, Command C, Command V, copying and pasting. We're gonna bring him over here, and I'm just gonna rotate it this way, just so it fits within our working area, okay? And I'm just gonna go ahead and group this section together, this Birthday Boy, and this Birthday Boy I want to cut out, so I'm making it a cut. Are we on the same page?
Kelly was asking why you need an offset, and I feel like you just answered that by saying we're going to be cutting out the Birthday Boy, so it's going to be sitting on top of the wood.
Let's go overhead and show them this. The reason we are creating an offset, this file was just the Birthday Boy and this checkered pattern. We want to engrave the checker pattern, cut out everything around it. We also want to cut out Birthday Boy. But the reason that we're not just moving this entirely is because I want to go back to the share screen. This is what I was fixing to get to, is I'm selecting this Birthday Boy that is still within here, and I want to change it to score. So that is going to allow me to know exactly where to put these cut out letters. Okay? Are we all on the same page so far?
Yes.
Cool. So as of right now, based on our layers panel, we have our outside edge back to our back to overhead. This right here is cut out. You can see, so when we go back to the share screen, I have my offset selected. It is set to cut. Now, Alicia was saying the material processing effect. You can look and see what the material processing effect is, and you can choose which one you want. This one is recommended if you are working with very popular materials like 3mm basswood, 6mm basswood, whatever. As of today, I have found that the recommended, the recommended settings through xTools always gives me great results. Unless you are working with a material such as a colored acrylic, you're gonna have to play around with it, and that's a whole nother beast that we're not even gonna talk about anymore today. So, we're just putting it on the recommended cutting material. You can see now what we have to do, because we have set our birthday boy to score, we need to make sure that all of our vector graphics here, which is the checked area, we need to make sure that they're all set to engrave at whatever power you want. Right now it is at the recommended. If you want a lighter one, more than welcome to move it to a lighter, whatever. All you have to do is click on these boxes, okay? Now, that's the one I want. I want the recommended. Cool. So we're just going through here and making sure all of these are set to engrave, 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 engrave,
Engrave.
Okay, and they are. I just like to double check and make sure that it has. Now, to add our little stick, what we are gonna do, we're gonna come over here to a rectangle. We are going to add a rectangle. We'll move it here. We're gonna unlock. Where's it at? Where's my unlock size aspect ratio? See, there it is. I don't want to lock it. There we go. Okay, so I had it locked. You can unlock your size aspect ratio up here in the top left corner. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that up, down, and make it as skinny as I want. You can see here. Now, you do have the snap features on here, which I like. If you want to center, what you're gonna do is you're going to select your rectangle as well as your vector, which is, I say vector, it is the offset. What we're gonna do, we're gonna come up here to align and horizontal align, and then from there, with them both selected, we are going to right here, unite them together. Boom.
Boom.
And then you have your little stick for your cake topper.
Cute. I was wondering how you were going to do that.
You was wondering how I was going to do that.
Yeah.
So now you can see that we have a score layer here. Nope, this guy doesn't need to be scored. This guy needs to be cut. That's what I do like about this, is it tells you. You can see here, we have our cut section. This is just for reference. We are cutting the outside plus the birthday boy. We are engraving the checkered pattern here, and we are scoring that birthday boy there. But the last thing that we need to do is we need to come in here, select all of these, and I don't have them all selected. Like that. We're just gonna go ahead and group them together. So we have a group here and a group here. We have multiple objects selected for here. Now we are ready to come down here to process. Oh yeah, first, forgot about this. we do need to measure the distance, so go overhead. This is just auto measuring, so what this is doing is it's taking the laser and it's measuring the distance between the laser and your material, and that's going to help your machine really know how powerful it needs to cut, engrave, and score. So you do have to come up here to the top right and do an auto measure before you go to processing. And then once that is done, we can come down here to process. Now, this is pretty loud. You can see this is the trajectory path that it is going on. Got it? Understand? This is a total time of 9 minutes. Before I hit play, I'm going to turn on air assist and turn on this buddy and hit play.
Let's go.
And start. And then you press the button. Well, I gotta go to the front and make sure I'm pressing the right button. Boom.
All right.
There we go.
Is that super loud to you all? It's loudish here,
It
but
is,
not
okay,
crazy.
So, in all honesty, when we're talking about lasers, it is a quiet laser.
Yeah.
Is it quiet on the screen or on this video? Probably not.
The Glowforge is way louder. I wouldn't want to cut if you and Tanner were in a live stream and I was trying to cut on the Glowforge, it would be like a little too loud, in my opinion. You don't need laser glasses because you have the orange shield on top.
That's why you have this guy right here. You don't need laser glasses.
They're saying it's not that bad, so that's good.
Cool.
So if you guys liked this file, if you liked this tutorial and you're brand new here, we are running a deal on our subscription, which is just $1. Basically, you're going to get full access to our library. You can download 20 files. You could do 20 fonts instead, or do a mixture of both if you wanted to. And if you already have a laser, you already have a Cricut, you can start making stuff like literally today.
Yes.
So it's going to be really nice for you guys that are wanting to go ahead and jump in. If you've been kind of on the fence about like getting your Cricut out of the box, I feel like a lot of people get a Cricut and they're like, I don't know, or they get a laser and they're like, I got a laser, I don't want to use that, I never use it. And I just think, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Get it out and make stuff. I know for a fact you can pay like upwards of $30 for these cake toppers. And I know everybody in here is celebrating birthdays at some point in the year. So you can be the designated cake topper maker of your family.
Yeah.
And if you start once, you're going to be the designated one forever.
You're going to be ask Donna. I'm pretty sure Donna has now turned into the designated laser girl of her community.
Oh, yeah. People find out you have a laser. Even before I had a laser, I did everything on the scroll saw, and everyone thought I did it on the laser. And people would ask me to make these like intricate cake toppers, and I'm like, I can't do that. I have a scroll saw. It would be like this big. I mean, I guess you could, but it'd take a lot of time.
Okay, so somebody did ask, which acrylics will that model cut? So here we have gotten it to cut white acrylic. You can see it's a little bit toasty on the edges, but we did get it to cut, and you can for sure cut this black matte acrylic. And I'm pretty sure Holly just cut a light orange acrylic, but once again, it is also a little burny. It's the light colors that this machine has the hardest times with.
And the reason it does that is because the light colors absorb more heat.
Yes, yes.
Or like the clear, and for some reason clear blue is really bad for this. Like it takes more power, so the laser's like, oh my gosh, why aren't you going through? And it starts to put more heat on those areas, and so it chars it.
Yeah.
Which you can clean it up most of the time, but with acrylic it'll melt. With wood, it'll burn, and you can usually get it off. But.
Yeah, you can kind of, you're not going to be able to see it, but you can, when I hold this up to the light, I can kind of see along the edges where this acrylic has kind of got a little hot and not super melty, but you can tell a difference. But it's not that bad. Like if you're looking at it,
it looks good. Yeah,
it looks good.
And also, like, everybody's lasers are going to be different depending on the wattage of laser you're using. Honestly, if I got the 20-watt cartridge with this, I would never go back.
Okay, so first of all, if you're going to buy one, don't even attempt to get the 10-watt laser.
Yeah.
Period. I'm going to tell you right now, do not do the 10-watt laser.
That's so cute.
Holly just brought in the orange piece that she cut right before the live. You can see here, this is what I mean by a little Bernie, but we'll talk about that later. I won't show that. But this, obviously it can be done. What she did was she engraved the acrylic and then went in and painted it. So, it is, yes, Rhea said it's because it's a blue light diode laser is why it absorbs that blue light. It's why the clear blue acrylic.
Yeah, that's true. It does help with scorching. The tape does help.
It does help, yes, but I still think you're still probably going to get that sometimes with a diode laser cutting acrylic. If acrylic is the way you want to go, if we're being honest, a CO2 laser is going to be better for cutting acrylic.
Yeah, I mean, you can do some acrylic projects on a diode laser, but yeah.
If you want full range of all acrylics, you may need to look into a CO2 laser. If you're like, I want to be able to do a little bit more, like not more, but it really just depends on what you and your budget want and can afford.
Yeah.
Because really, the world is your oyster. There are lasers out there that cost thousands and thousands of dollars if your pockets are that deep.
Yeah.
Like the Mira 9 or the Mira lasers.
The Mira lasers.
Or they're industrial lasers that have to come in on pallets that a lot of the people in the
laser group,
Tim Wall group.
Omtech is what I was going to get before I started working at Makers Gonna Learn. And it's like a Chinese laser. So like Omtech doesn't have as much customer support. And I think if you're in the market for a laser and you're not super tech savvy, I would really encourage you guys to research how good their customer service is, which seems like a silly thing. Like, I don't know, maybe everybody else doesn't feel that way, but customer service isn't usually a reason that I do or don't buy something.
It is me.
Well,
if it's a machine like that.
I mean, yeah, especially if you plan on using it to make money.
I'm gonna use hand me some of your water. I wanna see if I can.
But like Glowforge, when they first came out, their customer service was so busy all the time. They would never get back to you. I don't know how xTools is, but like I know at the Mira 9, they will literally fly someone out to you.
Is it Mira or Mira?
Oh,
was I saying it wrong? I was just asking because I thought I was saying it wrong.
I call it Mira, but I don't know if that's right. That's just Mira. I don't know. That sounds more country. Is that coming off?
A little bit.
Oh, good. I think alcohol would get it. There's probably rubbing alcohol in that. I know if you get charring on wood, you can use rubbing alcohol to get it off, and it'll be fine. Oh yeah, baby wipes. Vinegar would also work. Something acidic. Is that working? Nice.
A little bit, yeah.
That little flower is part of our cutting acrylic project we're doing next month.
Oh, I made this a lot smaller than the one we have.
That's okay. It's for a cupcake.
This is a cupcake topper.
Is it that little?
It's pretty tiny.
That's all right.
It's pretty tiny.
Donna says alcohol can make acrylics brittle, so that's good to know. We're not going to be chucking it around anywhere, so it's okay.
I got most of it off, though.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Can't even tell.
And if you don't know, now you know. I hear great things about I've loved my We Create Vision Pro. What is the
It's a laser. I've been seeing it on the internets.
I haven't.
Also, I think we might have talked about this in the last live stream. The excuse me, the Eufy, is it Eufy, like 3D printer? It's a new 3D printer. I'm obsessed with it. I wish we had one. They're so cool. Maybe we could get one.
Asher really likes his 3D printer.
Where did, what brand is it?
Oh, he just has a toy box.
That's the brand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like, so his 3D printer is about, boom, boom. It's literally like a box.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a toy box. It's because it's tiny and it's made for kids to learn, like how 3D printing works, how to like create things, but it's more like a drag and drop software. And he really likes it and has created a lot of things with it.
I love that they have that option for kids.
Eufy Make.
Yes, the UV Make UV printer.
Auntie Dante, guys. See how little it is? Ugh.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, okay. I got to move this. Oh,
it smells good.
Let's just go ahead. Can they see this over here? Let me turn this off. Yes. Okay, this melted part, this is why if you are using a larger sheet that will fit in here, but you're using the prism, the triangular prisms versus the honeycomb bed, that's why it's very important for you all to map out your area and not place things that you're gonna cut close to this plastic, because this black part was sitting on the acrylic here and it went through there and melted that. So
why don't they make those metal?
You know what? That's a good question.
I mean, those things that go across that are metal.
The prisms are metal?
Yeah.
Listen, that's a real
Watch
good
that
question.
water.
Let me just go ahead and put the lid on it and hand it back to you. Let me just hand it back to you without the lid on it. Okay. Yes, I heard you. I heard you. Okay. We're moving this out of the way, coming back over here, and now we're just popping this out. And we're gonna pop these little guys out.
I don't think there's a lot of things more satisfying than taking your little laser thing you just made out of the wood.
No, no, there's not.
I
love it. Now, you can see these over here kind of got, they're not as all the way through for some reason. But if that's the case, I just go from both sides. And what I like to do, if that happens, you might have to just take some sandpaper and just kind of soften those edges up.
What's nice about how Lauren laid out this design is that she has an outline of the letters on the actual cake topper, so you can just go in and place the letters right where they need to go without having to try to re-line them up.
Now that one's gonna need a lot of help, but that's okay. We have it, honey. If you're doing smaller things like this, I've also found that a nail file is sometimes better than just like sandpaper.
They have these little things that I used to use for scroll sawing. They're like sand sticks, sanding sticks, and they're like four-sided. And they're little skinny, like nail files almost. And you can get like in the cracks and crevices of stuff like that. You buy them in bulk on Amazon. Let me see if I can, I'll grab you guys a link if I can find them.
And now I'm just popping out the centers of my letters. The ones that didn't already come out. We're just gonna pop those out. Like these.
Like these.
This is the only thing, is I made these so small. I'm a doofus sometimes.
Okay, I'm gonna link you guys some sanding sticks off Amazon.
Okay. B-I-R-T-H-D-A-Y-B-O. Why? Got them. Okay, now all that is left for you to do would be to paint your little birthday boy letters. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, if you are painting wood for things like this, nothing can beat spray paint. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, I like spray paint the best, and I actually like,
just throw it on down there,
the cheap brand from Walmart the best.
The Rust-Oleum
2X Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. This is my favorite to use. I made a big acrylic sign for one of my friends when her daughter was born. And actually, Alicia was the one that turned me on to this. The
Krylon Crystal Clear Matte.
The Krylon Crystal Clear Matte to seal it, but to paint it black with this and then go over it with the Krylon Crystal Clear Matte.
Yes.
Because this just gives a really good coverage. It gives it's a really good color payout.
I've used some fancy spray paints, guys, because whenever I did sign making, I would use Bombing Science, and then there was a brand called Dang, I think it was called, or Bang or something. Mm-hmm. They have more color options, like cooler colors, but I don't know. I just love the Rust-Oleum. It's like tried and true. Like the nozzles don't clog up, which is my biggest issue, and then you can't use it, and I'm like, I just paid however much for those expensive ones, and they wouldn't work.
We did have a question, paint before you snap them out of the board? No. Because I can still use this piece of wood, but if there was paint on it, I would not put it back in there and have a diode laser hit it, or a laser hit it, period. Plus, if you paint it once you snap it out of the board, you can see here that we can get those edges blue instead of them being black like they are now.
Yeah.
Now, other than that, we can go through the process of painting. I don't really have, I have this, but I don't have anything to spray paint it on.
Probably shouldn't spray paint it.
Yeah, we're not gonna spray paint it. All you would do, spray paint your letters, and then from there, you use the scoring. This is why I scored, because now all I would have to do is come in here and glue these bad boys down in exactly the place that it is scored.
I will say, we could do a whole video on how to paint laser items, because there are techniques like someone mentioned putting the tape down, which is what I would do for small stuff, because when you spray paint, it's air being forced out. So if you got little tiny letters like that, they need to be stuck to something. So a lot of times I just roll out some painter's tape, and loop it around and stick it to a surface. Stick your letters on and then spray it that way. But also like the amount of coats that you do, when to seal it. There's a lot that goes into it that can really make your stuff look like store-bought versus you just threw some spray paint on it. Like there's a lot of things that kind of go into it. So maybe we'll do that.
Maybe we'll do a video of tips for spray painting your laser projects. Yes, acrylic paints do work on wood. It works on all wood. This is just regular wood. It is not like a special wood. It's just 3mm basswood. It does work if you want to use acrylic paints, but it's just the shine, the finish that you get with a spray paint for some reason with these projects are just so much better.
It really is.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Any questions? Oh, what glue?
I like we're out of the glue that I like at the time. We have this super tight on the table, or this is just truly super glue. In my opinion, I like to use either DAP glue, or I like the super fine tip Gorilla Glue that is like this, it's the Gorilla Super Glue. Those are my two favorite. DAP glue or the Precision Tip Gorilla Super Glue are my favorites for projects like this, because, and we could probably even have another video on gluing your projects down or gluing these different pieces together, because There is a little bit of a trick if you don't want glue to seep out. Once again, Alicia taught me this from her sign making business. If you are using some type of super glue, taking the glue, putting it on, having a piece of paper towel, just dropping that on the paper towel, letting some extra soak up, pick it up, and then glue it down to your thing.
Yeah, because otherwise it will smush down and it'll bleed out from under your wood, and then it will be shiny, making your wood shiny, and it looks like a hot mess. So try to avoid that.
Yep. Those are my 2 favorite glues, and that's how I like to glue things down.
I'm a Loctite girly, but they don't sell the glue that I used to use so much. But Gorilla Glue is my second. Dab glue is really good for small stuff like that because you just and it dries so fast.
Yeah.
So, anyways, everyone seemed to really like this type of video. We're gonna work on like how we want to set up the camera so we can make it even better. But make sure if you're watching the replay or if you're watching it right now, leave a comment on exactly what you want to learn about the laser. It can be anything. There's no bad thing to learn. So it can be which should I buy, or what is a diode versus a CO2 laser, or it could be as simple as what types of glue or what types of paint. And we can make some videos for you guys on that. But yeah. If you guys don't have any more questions, make sure if you missed it or you heard about our dollar deal that we've got running right now, Sadie put a link in the chat and there's a link in the description for you guys so you can get signed up to be a member with Makers Gonna Learn for $1 today.
Yeah.
And you get access to like everything today, which is really nice. So that means you can use the file we used today. If you are working on a Cricut, we have a Master Your Cricut course. We got lots of stuff. There's a lot of things in there.
So many things.
So many resources for you guys to use. So make sure to check that out. And yeah.
Sounds great.
See you guys next Wednesday.
We will see you guys in the next one.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.